Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have what I think is a really cool video today for all of my birth control taking girlies out there who are looking for not advice, but for somebody else's journey and like point of view, I guess. This video is kind of all over the place because I've been documenting my journey over the past few weeks / month or two, because I really wanted to show you guys what was happening throughout my journey live as it was happening. But as you can see the title, I am not being dramatic. I promise that this is just my journey, how I experienced everything, and kind of just my point of view. I know that it's really helpful for a lot of people, whether they have different medical conditions and stuff like that, but I also know that that's not everybody's journey, so I wanted to kind of just put out a different point of view, because over the last 6 months I've been trying to find a lot of videos like these and I really couldn't find any that were straight to the point without having to read a lot of books and stuff, which I know that obviously books are just another form of education, but I was just looking for like some quick, concise people's point of view. I know throughout this whole entire process I've been looking for different forms of information from different people, just talking about their story, not necessarily advice on what I should do, but just to hear other people's raw thoughts and feelings, and then I can interpret, do what I want with that information. But yeah, since I have been looking for this information online, I figured that it would probably be a good idea to also share and document my journey. So I kind of share the final days of taking my last pill up until about 2 months later, which is not technically a ton of time, but it's still 2 cycles without taking birth control. So if you guys kind of want to see like a 6-month or a year update, or just later down the line, just let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, this is just my journey, just documenting it here for anybody who needs it. And can we just put a little PSA out there? This is not medical advice. This is literally my journey. If you have any questions, you need any help, I am not the one to talk to. You need to go to your doctor and talk to them one-on-one and kind of just see what they have to say. They're a medical trained professional. I am not. Just wanted to put that out there. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying what my experience was. So with that all being said, let's go on and get into the video. Okay, so I know that the title sounds dramatic. I promise it is not. This is just my journey. And I really do think that I could have avoided a lot of things from taking the birth control pill, but I honestly have to say, after looking back on it, I don't regret taking the pill. I think that it is what I needed in my life at that time that I was taking it. And then as 5 years passed, because I was on it for 5 years, and I just no longer thought that that's something that I needed at that time in my life, if that makes sense. So while there was a lot of like highs and lows and my emotions were all over the place, I do not regret being on it. I think that it served its purpose for the time that I had it. And I have my notebook here so that I don't forget anything. But a little background before we get into the first few days without the pill. I just wanted to say kind of some of my history and my past. So basically I was diagnosed with IBS, which I know so many people out there have, so it's very common. I was also diagnosed with a tortuous colon. So I basically have an extra long colon, which is trying to fit into the same space of a body. So there's just extra kinks and turns and curves throughout my intestines. So it just takes me a lot longer to digest food, and it makes certain foods kind of like bother me more. So with that, I just have to be very careful with what food I eat, because it is very hard for me to digest some things. I feel full a lot later than most people because it takes so long for food to get through my stomach. But regardless of that, that's just an important thing to note, because over the past 5 years, I have noticed my IBS getting progressively worse. And whether it's attributed directly to the pill or not, I'm not totally sure. But after talking to my gynecologist, she basically said that, yeah, let's take a break from the pill. Let's see if your stomach issues improve. She was totally on board, which is the first time that I've ever had a doctor really say something like that to me. I feel like our whole lives we're like, no, women have to be on birth control. It is their duty. It is their job. Like, oh my God, that's just a different topic. But basically she was totally on board, and she said that it can have an effect on your digestive tract. So that's something that was honestly the main reason why I wanted to kind of stop and see how my body would react, because my stomach issues were just getting totally unbearable. But yeah, so my digestive tract was kind of getting out of control. And then another thing that I noticed that made me want to try to get off the pill was that I was very irritable, like more than ever in my whole entire life. I had zero patience. I could not wait for anybody to do anything. I would like fully throw a fit, I feel like, if something was just like out of order or like out of my control. I've never seen anything like it before, but looking back, not being on the pill and kind of how my body's reacting now, I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe that was the same person. I cannot believe that was me. And then along with the irritability, I noticed that like my whole life I would get really hungry really fast, but on my period I would notice that I would get really hungry really fast and then just have this gauging stomach ache, and it was like 0 to 100 in 5 minutes, which it would normally take like an hour or so to get to that level. So I just felt like I was hungry all the time, and I would just stuff my face like with so many snacks and then still be hungry for dinner. And I feel like no matter how much I worked out, because at one point I was working out like 5 days a week for 2 years straight, and my body wasn't looking any different. Like I was doing strength training, I was doing cardio, I followed groups on how to be fit and live a healthier lifestyle, and well, I felt like overall healthy and like I was doing better. Like my body physically, like I was still just so hungry, and I felt like I wasn't like getting rid of that little bit of fat that I had. I don't know, I just remember hearing somebody else say this about their experience, and I was just like, I've literally been struggling with that same thing and never thought that it had anything to do with birth control. So yeah, going to the gym all the time and not seeing results is really frustrating. And then when something like that is kind of like working against you, it just made it even harder. So once I heard that person say that, I was like, oh my god, like this is just another sign. This is just something else that I want to just stop taking it to see what happens. Another thing kind of emotionally, along with the whole patience thing, is I was very emotional. Like I was crying 4 days a week. I was sad all the time. I don't know, it's just such a hard thing to explain, because my whole life, I mean, I was never at this point, and I'm like the most successful I've ever been. So it was really weird to see me kind of doing my best, but then also it took so much strength to get out of bed to like do my best. I just didn't have any motivation for anything, and I just didn't care. I was like, oh, like I can go do this and leave the house, but do I want to leave the house? Like it's hard to explain honestly, but I just didn't have any motivation to do anything, which was very unlike me, because I'm usually like a go 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 person, always wanting to do something, always wanting to get out of the house. But especially over the last year or two, I was just very much of a homebody in cozy clothes, not doing hair, not doing makeup, not getting dressed up. And that's honestly like a huge part of my life, is being super girly and all of that stuff. So I think I had a little bit of an identity crisis. Again, not to be dramatic, this is just my experience and my story. Yeah, that was honestly a huge part. And then next, which I haven't really seen that many other people talk about this. I honestly don't think I've heard anybody say this, but for me, I had worse periods on the pill. I had usually like a 7-day period, whereas before I only had like a 4 or 5 day period. And before it was very light bleeding, and on the pill I just was bleeding so much, which is so gross, but I know that somebody out there can relate. And honestly, just my mood swings were worse, my hunger levels were different, and emotionally, like I was just, I don't know, I feel like I was more of the stereotypical like pure PMS girl is on her period person, whereas before it was very mild, very chill, which is very odd to me, because I know that some people take the pill to lessen their cramps and lessen their symptoms and stuff like that, but it was just weird that mine were so like of the opposite. And then another reason why I wanted to take a break from the pill was because I felt like I was lacking more self-confidence, like because I was so bloated all the time and my symptoms were just so bad, and I was so tired and so unmotivated and so lazy that like I just felt poorly of myself. And while I'm still working on that and trying to gain my self-confidence back up, I don't think I've ever been to such a low point at that. Like I felt like people were judging my every movement, if I breathed wrong, if I walked wrong, and I hadn't really experienced something quite to that extreme in my life. Again, overall, like I feel like everybody at some level deals with self-confidence issues, but mine was just totally different. And then kind of the last reason why I wanted to make this video was because I saw other people do this video and I realized how much it helped me kind of navigate this journey. Like I mentioned later, I cried multiple times throughout this journey because I could not decide if I wanted to take a break from the pill or not. And by hearing people's tips and tricks and what they did and kind of their reasoning, it really helped me a lot, and I wanted to be that person for somebody else too. So yeah, let's get on to kind of the raw footage that I have of my experience. I filmed the days right after my period, a few weeks later, and then about 6 to 8 weeks after that. So now that you kind of have the reasoning and everything, let's get on into the experience. You guys, today is basically the last day of taking the pill. I haven't had my period for a few days now because my period's shorter than the 7 days of the placebo pills. So I haven't been, it's been like a few days, even though today is when I'm supposed to start the next pack, but I don't know how I feel. It was such a ruckus in my brain for probably the last 6 months. I knew that this is when my prescription time period kind of ended, but basically I knew that once this ran out, I didn't want to take the pill anymore if that was possible. And I don't really know what I'm going to end up talking about in the intro of this video, but I kind of just wanted to document the process because when I have been trying to make this decision for the last 6 months, I honestly couldn't really find that much without having to read a book or read a long article or something like that. So I wanted to give advice or just kind of share my journey, not tell anybody what to do whatsoever, because obviously birth control is a great thing and it helps so many people, but I also know that there's a lot of side effects from it that people don't talk about, and there's also a lot of side effects that you don't know you have until you stop taking the pill. I just wanted to document the first day of this journey and then however I feel to update moving forward, just to kind of describe how I'm feeling and stuff like that. And again, I'll mention most of this in the intro probably. This will most likely be all over the place, but I'm mostly trying this for my gut health. I already have a lot of stomach issues way beyond IBS. And through some of the research I did, a lot of people struggle with those symptoms getting worse when they're on the pill. And once I kind of broke down my timeline, looked back, I realized that I have had stomach issues my whole life, but these last 5 years have been absolutely awful. And I've gone to the hospital many times just because I can't get them under control. I've had a colonoscopy, there's so many things. And I really hope that by coming off of the pill, these will just get better. And I'm trying not to think about it too much because I don't want to be oh yeah, I'm off the pill, everything's great. I want to see if it truly is affecting anything, because obviously that's the most common form of contraception. So when you come off of it, it is very hard trying to find a equal alternative because it is just so effective. So this was not an easy decision at all. I'm not kidding when I thought about it the last 6 months, and I've also cried about it a few times because for some reason I just feel women have to take it. We don't have a choice, we have to. And that just doesn't sit right with me. So like I said, this is basically day 1 and it's only been 3 days or so. So I haven't really noticed that much of a difference, but I have realized that I've had more energy and have been able to do more things. I feel I wake up better and I can be more productive when I'm at home, which before I couldn't leave bed. And I mean, it's only been 3 days and it was the weekend, so that could attribute to most of it, but also the weekend I feel is when I'm the laziest. So far I don't want to jinx it, but I swear I've seen a little bit of a difference. And even if it's not related to the pill, I just hope mentally that I continue along this for as long as possible so I can be happier and healthier, because before this I would probably I would come home every single night and just cry for hours for no reason or for nothing. So it would be really great if this is kind of the trough and we're gonna go back up to the incline. But yeah, this is day 1 and I will update you guys in a few days once I feel I have more to say about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for now. Hey guys, I wanted to do another little check-in. It's been about 2 weeks since I've taken my last pill, or I guess 2 weeks since my last period, if that makes sense. And I wanted to kind of just touch base again to tell you guys any of the new things that I might be experiencing and see if I've noticed a difference at all. So like I said, it's been about 2 weeks and I would say that things have kind of slowed down here, so I've been kind of back into more of my normal routine, so I kind of have a better gauge of how I've been doing, like emotionally, mentally, and stuff like that. And I have to say, I still, since my last update, I still have not cried. And as dumb as that sounds, that is honestly such a huge deal, because I was crying seriously like 3 times a week, 4 or 5 times a week. Like, I was crying pretty often just about nothing, and nothing was going right. And then Tyler says to me the other day, he said, "I just wanted to let you know that I've noticed you've been a lot happier lately, and that makes me happy." And I thought that was the cutest thing ever, because I seriously have been going through it the past months, past few years and stuff like that. And I feel like just overall, I've been just more positive and happier. And I feel like another huge thing is I haven't been as irritable. Like, I've only been at my job for less than 2 months. And so like sometimes, some days are just really hard. You're like, am I ever gonna get the hang of this? And just things go wrong left and right. And I've had some things come up lately at work where I'm like, wow, like a few weeks ago, I would have like let this determine the mood for the rest of my day and would have just ruined my entire day. And I've had some instances like that, but I haven't actually been mad for the rest of the day. Like, I've felt myself be like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. You can move on like normal. Like, you'll fix it, move on, let's go. So that has been so nice. And another little thing which could have something to do with it, could not, is my face hasn't gotten as red when people are talking to me. I feel like I have like a little bit of social anxiety, and I don't know, I'm just not good around talking to people I don't fully know. And since I am new here at work, my face was getting red all the time, and it's so frustrating because you can feel like from your scalp, your brain, all the way down to your chin, you can just like feel the red rush through your face, and then your heart start pumping and your hands start getting sweaty. But I've had much less cases of that, and that's made me really happy, because I get anxiety about being anxious in those instances, so then it's like a double whammy and it's just as worse. So that's been really good. And like food wise, I feel like I've been like hungry the same, but not in the same ravenous way. Like at work, I would be starving a lot earlier than I am now. Like, I eat breakfast at 8 and I'd be starving by 9, but now I feel like I'm kind of hungry at 10, but I don't have to eat. So again, that could have something to do with it. It could not. It's just, I don't know, I'm just trying to document every little thing at the beginning to hopefully not only look back and see how far I've come, but also to let other people know if you're experiencing this, it's completely normal. Or if you're experiencing this and you feel like you're alone, like you're kind of just seeing my waves, my highs and my lows here. So yeah, I just wanted to check in and give a little bit of a 2-week update, and then I wanted to give you guys an update again in another 2 weeks, so kind of a full month update to kind of see where I'm at. But so far, so good. I don't have any complaints yet. Everything's been going really well, mentally, physically, work-wise, relationship-wise, life-wise. And I'm very excited for the future. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I have something just as exciting, if not more exciting, to talk about. So yeah. Okay, you guys, so it's been about 8 weeks since taking my last pill. So it's been almost 2 months. And I have a few new things that I wanted to talk about and kind of just wrap up my overall experience so far. And if you guys want to see kind of like a 6-month, a year update, or anywhere past these 8 weeks, just let me know in the comments below. But yeah, how have these last 8 weeks been? It's been about a month since I talked to you last, and I feel like the things that I was experiencing before are still true and still the same, but also a few new things. It has been officially 8 weeks and I still have not cried, not even once, you guys, and you have no idea how much of a big deal this is for me. I was crying every single week, at least once, but the average was probably like 4 times a week over nothing. Over absolutely nothing. And I cannot believe that my life in general has been exactly the same. I've seen the same amount of people. Tyler and I have been doing the same things. If not, I'm in like the same or better place, but still I have not cried. And that is huge. That was honestly the biggest thing that made me want to try to take a break, because I could not deal with how sad I felt all the time. Like literally just sitting around moping around the house for no reason, but I didn't know how to snap out of it because I didn't know what was causing it. So that has been the biggest life-changing thing ever. And then the next thing that I've noticed is I have more patience. Like before, this seems small, but you'll see. So basically, like whenever I would leave work, I would stress out if I left like 5 or 10 minutes later. Like I was always okay with staying later than I needed to at work, but if I didn't mentally prepare before, I would stress out that I'm like gonna be home late, can't go to the gym, can't make dinner, all of this stuff. Like I was just an anxious person with zero patience. And now I feel like I'm more of a go with the flow, like I used to be, chill, like more laid back, and little things like that don't bother me as much. Like overall, waiting in line for people when I'm driving, at work, at the grocery store, I just feel like overall I have way more patience than I did before. And that's honestly huge for me because that was something I was really struggling with. Something else I've experienced is my hunger I feel like I've gotten more control over it. I'm still not that 0 to 100 or always needing a snack person, although I still need snacks every few hours. I'm not so ravenous and my stomach doesn't give me sharp pains like it did before when I was hungry. And again, like that might just be a now thing and not be because of the pill, but it's been 8 weeks and I'm still feeling that way. So I think that has been one major positive thing by taking a break. And then next, I've noticed that I've had way less painful bloat. My stomach, like I said, I have IBS, so I just bloat from very, very many things. But my bloat is less painful and I feel like it comes and goes a lot faster, whereas before it would stay like hours and hours and hours. But I feel like it's more controllable, my clothes still fit fine, like I'm not fighting bloat all day every day like I was before and just like literally not eating because I would be uncomfortable for the rest of the day. I feel like it's been much more manageable and I can deal with it better, so that's a huge positive. And then next, I think overall I've just been more fun, more like full of life, more positive. Like I don't know, I feel like I lost my spark for way too long in the middle there, and like I said before, I feel like I was totally having an identity crisis. And while I'm still navigating like being an adult on my own across the country from everybody I know, I feel like it's more easier to deal with now than it was before. And it's only been 8 weeks, and when there's so many things going on in life, that was just one more thing that I had to deal with. So it's been nice like being my own bubbly little person that I was before, instead of always needing people, or I don't know, it's just very hard to explain, but the feeling is just, I feel like deep down I have myself back and I can fully work on myself and not feel bogged down by something random that I don't know is dragging me down. And then lastly, the last thing I wanted to talk about was overall my periods have been way better. I mean, I've only had 2, and I know that it takes some people 6 months to a year to totally recover from the pill. And again, like I know there's a ton of like health benefits by being on the pill, like cancer wise and stuff like that, but it's definitely gone back to like 4 or 5 days now. It's totally not to where it used to be before, but again, it's only been 2 cycles. And the first day, I remember my first period after the pill, the first day was really bad. I had terrible cramping and bleeding, but then after that, for the rest of the week and then my next one, it has not been bad at all. It's very light, it comes and goes, like it's just been very manageable overall. So to kind of wrap up all my thoughts and feelings along this whole entire video, I'm sorry if it's all over the place. I am very grateful that I found a doctor who is willing to listen to me and work with me and reassure me that it's okay for some people to take a break from the pill. She literally said, everybody needs a break sometimes. And I was just like, I've never heard that in my entire life. Like everybody I've talked to ever has been eat, sleep, and breathing this pill. And I know it works great for some people, not everybody, and you just have to find something that works for you. But I am happy on this break. I don't know if I will return to the pill, but right now I'm really enjoying this break, and I'm excited to see where it keeps going. So if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I really hope that it was helpful for at least one person. That will make it all worth it for me. And yeah, that's just my journey. Ask your doctor for medical advice because I'm not a doctor, but I hope this helped, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.